Well, we were flooded in Hurricane Irene in 2011. It came in the house and it washed all the porch furniture down the river, just about. Yeah, you can see it on the floor. It's sloshed in here. But, yeah, it's precarious. My nephew thinks the house will go float down the river in his lifetime, but I hope not.
Well,
but we get scared when there's high water. When we hear the high water, I always move my car over to my neighbor's higher property because I'm afraid the car will go down the river. So yes, and my husband was here. He was in a wheelchair. My husband Duke, he wasn't well, so they had to carry him out and put him across. We stayed in Aunt Marie's mother's house for a little while until he went in the hospital. So it was difficult. Yeah.
We back in pretty close to the river.
Okay. And
when it comes out high, we have waterfront property. Because the river has changed so much with the flooding.
Right. How did you fare during the Hurricane Irene?
Not that well. We didn't have any water in the house, but it got in the garage and my beer garden, and it was a mess. But I have good friends that helped out a lot. They power washed the garage and the beer garden. I had to replace one floor, and I had to take. I have an antique car. I have a 1971 Ford LTD convertible, black with a white interior. I used it to court my wife, and I still have that.
What's that?
Well, it got water in it, so I had to have the carpeting all replaced and a major cleanup. After Irene, we have a bank that's along the brook, and we built that up about 4 feet. It was already high, but the water came over it in Irene, and we put rock gabions in, the wire boxes that hold rocks. And I put some real big rocks in there. I hauled 116 loads of rock with this thing that first year we had it, which was not March 2013. Started doing that. So we had 3 floods in a row up here. We had one October 1st, 2010. Then we had Irene in August, I think the 28th, 2011, and then we had another flood September 16th, I think it was, in 2012, which was kind of a local event. Same thing, we had water in the property all over, had to do all the stuff we did before, all over again. So that's when I decided to start building the walls up. And like I said, I built them up 3 and 4 feet high, and they're well reinforced. And I had a lot of help doing it. A friend of mine had a truck, and he brought in some real big stones and a power, a bucket loader to move them. So we're in pretty good shape.
when we had Irene, that the road was washed out. Completely wiped out. And we were brought.
Peakamus Road?
Yeah, Peakamus Road, right where the store is, that little green store. One day, as soon as we can just kind of slow down, don't have so many things, I'll give you all those pictures because I think it would be good for you to have them in some movies that I took from inside our house during the flood. But it was washed out. We were brought here, and once we got here, we were told that this was our emergency place. And and then somehow Gravesville, because we're under fire, and it was their fire district from Gravesville, and they said that we were going to be taken to Ellenville, and we all wondered why Ellenville at school, not Tri-Valley, but they didn't have a generator at Tri-Valley, so they were going to take us down there. And there were many people, we're here, how would we get back? Nobody knew how we'd get back, so of course he called Art Snyder, because this phone does work all the time, and the phone booth works. And Art said, no, you don't have to. And then, it was Dave Brooks, who was the supervisor. He offered to take us home. By the time, we were here maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. And by the time that he was ready to take us home, the town had in other words, a culvert and a dirt road. So it wasn't, it was just hours. Okay, now we all have flood insurance because with FEMA and after Irene, it was mandated. So we have flood insurance, and at first I was very upset. Okay, and then we did find our own insurance broker was able to get a good policy, and so many of us have flood insurance. But during Irene, we never had a flood like that before. And I have pictures where the water was around our house, like 3 feet, rushing, and we couldn't get out. Okay, our kids were outside on the road, we had signs, and we communicated, we were fine. But after the water subsided, he's an electrician. All of us have washing machines, furnaces in the basement, and it was like, he said, take the jackets off, all right, let everything dry out, don't run them until they're dry. Everything worked, my washer, my dryer, everybody, okay? So we were wondering, why do we need flood insurance? I mean, we're self-sustaining, okay, we could do it, but we had no choice. Now, I said if it happens, I'm going to go get the cleaning guy in to clean up the mud. But that's what I'm saying. I think that we all took the advice of each other and everybody helped. Where one knew one thing, one knew another, and we made it through that storm. I want to say the following year, we had, or maybe it was in October of that year, because it was wound up snowing later on, that we had a Goodnight Irene party. In other words, it was behind us. We all were back on track. The bait store, the sundown bait store, I have pictures of it. And it was, completely eroded. It was a mess. But people, the church, okay, they all fixed it. And that's what it's about to me. That's community and not giving up on each other.